Welcome back, Boomers, to a new year. Happy New Year. It's 2026. It's my first video. And I, like many others, start thinking about resolutions. What's your word of the year, etc.? What are your plans, particularly with regard to investments? If you're like me, resolutions, having words, special words to focus on, really don't have never cut it. As a matter of fact, I would say most of us don't even think about those much longer than a week. But in this video, I am going to tell you what I have found to be, for me, going forward in 2026, the best investment, not only for me this year, but possibly the best investment. So I want to welcome to the new viewers and the old timers that have been around the channel now for a year. What's up, Boomer? I'm Phil. My channel really is about making the best of the way things have turned out. And I'm excited about 2026 for a number of different reasons. But today I want to share with you what I'm excited about in terms of the investment I found that I think is going to prove to be such a great year. First, let me tell you the headlines I've been seeing now on my YouTube suggestions as we ended last year and as we begin this year. I wrote some of these down. They're talking about balancing their portfolios. They're talking about where the important money moves are right now, especially if you're 60 plus. They're talking about how my investments did. How did your investments do? And I'm like, who are they talking to? Because they're not talking to me. And I know that they're not talking to the majority of you because we've reached the age of retirement without the nest egg. We've reached it in a way that we didn't plan for it to end up as it has. And so we've got to make the best of the way things have turned out. So if you're retired or you're approaching retirement, say in the next 10 or 15 years, and you're worried about ending up like 60+% to 80% of us that have not and do not have the savings we thought we'd have, this video is for you. Here's where I'm at. I'm not, and I refuse to spend this year and the remaining years trying to save up some little bit of money for the security of my future, because that's not going to provide the security. That ship sailed. So the future isn't about how much money I can save or how my investment, if I choose, how any investment this year is going to perform. It's how much life I can live with the life I have left. What's more clear to me than ever before, and can really apply to anyone, is this: time matters more than compounding. Now, that is not true if you're in your 20s, 30s, or even 40s. But at this point in time in life, for me, time is more important than the rate of return. Here's that investment. It's in me. It's in myself. That's going to be my investment strategy this year. And I'm going to lay it out what that looks like here in the next few minutes. While financial investments at this point can crash, what I'm calling memory investments will only increase in value over time. As a matter of fact, they are guaranteed to increase in value over time. So what are these things? This year, I will invest in my skills, in some hobbies, and experiences that will create memories. I'm going to continue to work at Home Depot, although that is a major goal, as I mentioned in last video, that my plan is in 2026 to move on. So some of the courses that I plan to take will be related to the world today, like AI, not just keeping up with skills, but learning the new skills that can enhance my life in the senior years. And I'll be sharing those more in detail. If you've got anything you think in this coming world or in the world that has arrived right now that you need to learn, drop those ideas in the comments, and we'll compare notes as to this coming year, what kinds of courses or skills we need to sharpen or we need to even learn from the get go. With working on new skills and new learning, continuing to learn, another big investment will be and continue to be in my health. And I can only do what's best, or what I can only do the best I can with all the information that's out there. This is a tough one, actually, because I don't know what's the best route, especially after you have, let's say, a diagnosis that affects how you might or should eat, like heart disease. Anyway, that's going to be something I'll continue to research and on a daily basis work on the things I do know have been proven, no matter if you're plant based or keto based, are going to benefit you, benefit me. I'm going to keep this about me because I don't know you, but are going to benefit me. For example, lowering stress, having healthy, close relationships with friends and family, and getting the right or enough quality sleep. And then, of course, staying away for sure of sugar and processed foods. So that's definitely an investment in myself. And possibly that's the most important investment, because if I lose that one, you lose everything. So when thinking about this, when people are looking at investments, they have rules or advisements. I have 4 categories that will ensure the investments I'm making this year in these areas will offer the highest ROI. And the first one is to stay and continue to be debt free. I will not take on, there's only a couple of scenarios I could think where I would have to take on debt, but pretty much I'm committed, not doing any spending that would put me in a debt situation. I think it's probably the most important thing that if you don't have a portfolio, or if you have a small portfolio, remaining debt free or getting debt free would be the number one goal investment wise in 2026. I won't be tracking any portfolio numbers or what the stock market is doing, because it doesn't matter. As I mentioned before, my freedom is directly related to being debt free. Another area of importance to me as far as investment is my savings. I'm going to continue to save aggressively. And that ties in very specifically, very importantly, with the decision I hope to be able to make later in the year of hitting that number in savings, which I could comfortably say I can walk away from working my job and building the projects that I'm interested in building right now. 2 in particular. Number one, the school community, that's SKOOL. And I put that community together for the purpose and the benefit of other boomers in particular, to have conversations, to have some fun, and to basically connect and communicate much easier than you can on any other platform, I believe, that's out there right now. And number 2, a legacy project, which is in the making, been thinking about it a long time. In my opinion, it may be the most important thing to do in your final quarter of life that has the longest return on investment by far than any amount of money you can leave, say, your family. Now, wrapping up sort of the big picture of this investment in me is there's a lot of talk out there about the misogi. I think I'm saying it right. And the ikigai. The misogi, I think, I hope I'm saying that right, but it's like doing one thing a year that is in one way unattainable, but it's the most rewarding. So I'm going to choose one. I think that for me is going to be getting myself to where I can financially be stable enough to walk away from the job, and things that have to happen for me to be able to do that. So that'll be my one big thing. And then some people call it small mini adventures. And they try to say take one every couple months. I'm going to shoot for I'm going to shoot for 3 mini adventures this year. Number one, because financially, I think it would be smarter. They don't necessarily have to cost a lot or any money, but I'm working on that this month. Is the big goal. A minimum of 3 mini adventures, and then what I would consider micro investments, like what courses am I looking at taking this year? What skills am I going to try to either sharpen or learn? And that'll be for another video. And I hope to encourage you all to do these things yourself. Take this month as we start the year, and let's think about these things that we would love to accomplish this year. This month, planning them out for the year. If you've got something you'd really like to do this year, write it down, share it in the comments. If you've got some ideas on the micro investments, what's a skill you really feel you should learn this year, would like to learn, especially ones that might improve you as a functioning, contributing adult? Because I find, a lot of times we get to these ages and we quit contributing, and we give up because a lot of times people don't want our contributions. Part of that, though, is because we need to stay up with the things that are happening out there. And I'm thinking right now specifically of the AI technologies and how could we potentially use them to benefit our life and life in general, enhance it. Because I've done some things recently that they're scary, but they're also, well, let me give you a quick example. Someone made Mark, who was on the live last week or so. I'm a member of his school group, and we were talking. He had posted this idea about legacy, and there's a book out there by the founder of Hobby Lobby, and I can't even recall the name of it right now. I'll be sharing it in the future, but I've got to get this book. I thought I got to read this book, and so much is going on. I thought, well, I'd like to get the gist of it. If I could just find where I could just get the main points of it. I just popped into Perplexity. That's a particular AI out there. You could have used ChatGPT. You could use Claude. All of those are ones that I'm familiar with and have been enjoying. And Gemini, that's the newest one. I just went into, I believe it was Perplexity. And I said, review the book, The Legacy Project, or whatever it was called, and give me the main points. And in less than 30 seconds, I got a great review. Now, on the one side, it's like the Cliff Notes, and if you're a boomer, you feel guilty about using the Cliff Notes. But no, in this day and age, we don't have much time left. Anything that can enhance the time we have left and anything that can bring more value to the time we have left, I think is a good thing. Now, I still plan to, I think, get the book and read it, but I didn't even get through the amount of information in that summary. But in the information I did get through, wow, I was just so encouraged to have grasped the information, which was so valuable, so that I was able to access it so quickly and, in my opinion, so accurately. Well, boomers and the like, let's wrap this up. I hope, y'all might have millions, you might have hundreds of thousands, you might have nothing. But I hope you'll join me this year in investing in you. In a very real way, we're all in the same boat. And the ROI of what we get done this year will be the greatest ROI I think we can ever have if we invest in life. And that's what these things are really about. Well, outside of finances and investments, what's one thing you might what is something you've always wanted to do and you haven't done it yet? It could be the big thing or it might be a mini thing. Let's share with each other here in the comments or over at school. Question: what's one big memory, which isn't a memory yet, but what's one big memory you'd like to look back on 2026 and say, yeah,